Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. There apparently is no one good and technical in AI that Mark Zuckerberg has not tried to buy. The latest news is a rumored acquisition of Nat Friedman and Daniel Gross's investment fund. The information reports that talks are underway to partially buy out the fund, which has just an absolute murderer's row of investments. These guys are some of the absolute most prolific investors in all of AI, and were early in Perplexity, 11 Labs, as well as Ilya Sutskever's Safe Superintelligence. It's not exactly clear how much of the fund would be bought out versus just them coming, but whatever combination it is, it looks like the price tag would be over $1 billion. Now, just like in previous cases, there is clearly a big focus on the people here themselves. If the deal goes through, both partners would join Meta to work under Alexander Wang in this new star-studded superintelligence division. Prior to forming the fund, Gross led machine learning efforts at Apple, including as part of the early development of Siri. The product was based on technology that Apple acquired from his startup Q. As well as investing in Safe Superintelligence, Gross is also listed as a co-founder alongside Sutskever and serves as the company's CEO. Nat Friedman is a serial founder who made his way to Microsoft in 2016 via acquisition. In 2018, when he was a vice president at the company, he was appointed CEO of the newly acquired GitHub. He parted ways with Microsoft in 2021 to focus on venture investing. And apparently Friedman has been involved with Meta's AI efforts for a little while now. The information writes, in May 2024, Friedman joined an advisory group to consult with Meta's leaders about the company's AI technology and products. Earlier this year, Zuckerberg asked Friedman to lead Meta's AI efforts altogether. Friedman declined but helped brainstorm other candidates, including Wang. And apparently Zuckerberg had been skeptical that Alexander Wang would leave Scale, but it was Friedman who convinced him that a deal was possible. Now, frankly, the numbers are not adding up here for me. Friedman and Gross's investments are incredibly valuable, and it seems like sources say that Zuckerberg doesn't really care about the assets and is just looking to acquire the talent. But in addition to that, Safe Superintelligence just raised $2 billion at a $32 billion valuation just a few months ago. Now, you have to think that that is largely based on Ilya's reputation, but still you also have to think that Gross leaving for Meta would materially impact those investments. Interestingly, and this gets back to Zuckerberg trying to buy everyone, apparently he also tried to buy Safe Superintelligence earlier in the year as well. The sourcing is very light on that particular deal, just saying that Ilya rebuffed Zuckerberg's attempt, but we don't even really have the exact timing. Omar Kanji of Dragonfly Capital wrote that the deal would be a big one. He writes, if Zuck and Meta acquire Nat Friedman and Daniel Gross's venture fund, it'd be mind-boggling. Through the fund or stake, he'd get a piece of Safe Superintelligence and household names like Perplexity, Character, 11 Labs, and more. It also gives him world-class talent that are founder-employee magnets to build up Meta AI, a toehold with some of the most promising next-gen companies whom he can acquire or partner with, a range of seed bets, runway to a vertical stack, and info rights across the landscape. Mixes strategic investment and brand building and business development and talent acquisition and strategy all into one deal. Now, one more piece of news on Zuckerberg's acquisition efforts. Over the weekend, The Verge reported that he had also made offers to buy Perplexity and Mira Murati's thinking machines as well. Writing in the Command Line newsletter, Alex Heath commented, at this point, it's becoming easier to say which AI startups Mark Zuckerberg hasn't looked at acquiring. Speaking of Mira Murati, the former CTO of OpenAI has apparently closed $2 billion in funding at a $10 billion valuation. This is one of the largest early-stage funding deals in venture history. The 6-month-old startup is still pre-product and hasn't even made it clear what they're working on. Buko Capital was one of about 1 billion tweets like this one. I need $2 billion. No, you may not know about the product. No, I will not share anything about the financials. No, your voting rights won't matter. You have 24 hours. He shared a pull quote from that Financial Times piece that reads, because of its highly clandestine nature, a number of funds that Murati pitched to passed on the deal. One of those people added Murati's pitch offered no information about a product or financial plans. So what does she have? Well, of course, the answer is talent. They now have a roster of more than 30 leading researchers drawn from the big AI labs, which at Zuckerberg's $100 million a head offer is at least $3 billion worth right there, right? Reporting states that Andreessen Horowitz led the round with participation from Sarah Guo's conviction partners. It confirmed that Murati will hold majority voting rights, ensuring she retains complete control over decision-making at the company. Lastly, speaking of OpenAI, there was quite a bit of hullabaloo over the weekend when people started to notice that all of the information around their deal with Johnny Ive had suddenly been scrubbed from the website. People ran to speculate that somehow the bromance between Johnny and Sam Altman had come apart, but it turns out it has to do with a lawsuit. OpenAI later clarified, writing that this page is temporarily down due to a court order following a trademark complaint about our use of the name IO. We don't agree with the complaint and are reviewing our options. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman writes, the Johnny Ive and OpenAI deal is on track and has not dissolved or anything of the sort. They were sued over the name IO and there was a restraining order issued by the judge. They had to pull all materials with the name. The legal threat has some echoes of what Johnny Ive went through over a decade ago in bringing the phone to market. At the time of launch, Cisco owned the trademarks to iPhone and iOS, and apocryphally, Steve Jobs steamrolled them by claiming that they had no legitimate intention to use the iPhone trademark. And yet, Apple still pays a licensing fee to use the iOS brand. Menlo Ventures' Didi Das, though, thinks that this is a lot bigger than just a trademark. He tweeted portions of the lawsuit and wrote, breaking, Google X spin-out IYO, or IO, which makes smart earbuds from 2018, alleges Sam Altman and OpenAI heard their pitch, got Johnny Ive to try it before copying it, buying his company for $6.5 billion and calling it IO. Most dramatic must-read tech lawsuit this year. I'm sure that story will continue to evolve and we will keep an eye on it, but for now, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines edition. Next up, the main episode.